What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Hopefully, everybody had a good start to their week. It's almost over. We're halfway there. First off, I want to say hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows.
Big Dash knows what?
New York Giants football. Let's go. I already see a whole bunch of new faces in the chat. I see my guest has brought in the whole Who Dat Nation. You guys are flooding the chat already. Hopefully, my Giants fans can represent as well. But also, thank you guys for joining the Giants War Room this week. We will be previewing the matchup between the New York Giants and the New Orleans Saints. I do have a special guest with me, my man, the host of Saints Talk, Mr. T.J. Jones. Let me go ahead and get him added to the stage. How you doing, good sir?
Hey, Dash, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that too, man. I'm checking the chat. I'm checking my phone. I'm looking at this Yankees game. It's 4-3 right now, trying to see if we can hold on. The chat will let me know. There's some people in the building for sure, man. But again, so before we get started, again, I introduce you, but also I'm gonna let you introduce yourself as well. Let the people know who you are, where you're from, and how they can find you.
Yeah, man. Well, once again, my name is T.J. Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Been doing it since 2018, man. I'm a native of New Orleans, born and raised there. Grew up a Saints fan, became a Saints fan because of my grandmother, believe it or not. She was a fan of the Saints since 1967, the expansion, and that love kind of rubbed off on me, man. I started doing a podcast because I was upset about a Saints Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, man, where Ryan Fitzpatrick threw for about 400 yards, and I recorded it, man, and the rest was history. Been able to do some amazing things in the process, and just happy to be here, man. And if anybody want to find me, you can go on YouTube and search the State of the Saints podcast.
Now, thank you very much. And again, it's kind of similar to my beginning, man. And it's funny too, is my wife is the one that got me started because I used to be on Twitter. I used to, just going off about the Giants, going off about talking. It was nonstop. My wife said, "You might as well do something with this."
Yeah.
And then, like I said, after years of pushing against it, 2022, I said, forget it. We got a new coach coming in. Yeah. It's a good time to jump in. And again, shout out to all the supporters, all the subscribers too, man. This channel is growing tremendously, and it's all because of them. I want to do a quick roll call. I can't do them all because, again, you got the people deep in here, man. Yeah. Who that nation is deep in here right now.
Man, they support me, man. I appreciate that. I don't take that for granted.
Now, that's a fact. So, you know what? I'm going to shout out some of the people that came with you. You know what I mean? So, I got independent outside in the building, Mr. Dave Denton. He said the Saints run game concerns me, to be honest. Okay. Raphael, I'm sorry, that's one of my guys, actually. Raphael Mason says, who that Saints? We in here, baby. We that, to that, Louisiana dog here. Like you guys are deep in here. Yeah, man. Big Velly in the building. Who's this? My man Jerry, plain and simple.
Oh yeah, that's my guy right there, man.
Cliff Jordan, you guys in here deep, man. You guys in here deep. We gonna get this conversation going on, man. So obviously, man, neither one of our teams are starting off the way that we wanted them to, right?
Right. Yeah, that's an understatement.
Shout out to my man Big Mo also in the building. Said, yo, Big Dad, good to see you live. Is Isaiah Hodgins available? He's available. Will we go get him? That's the question. We ain't gonna talk about that yet, though. He said he would add depth. Knows the offense, just a thought. Now, absolutely, Isaiah Hodgins is one of those guys on my list right now. Yeah. And I finally got some New York Giants love in the building too. Bunch of who that though, still who that. But yeah, both our teams didn't have the start that we wanted to. Right. The first 4 games, again, we're 1-3. You guys are 0-4. Big matchup in New Orleans. We have a tough time with the Saints in New Orleans, man. But before we get into the game, like as far as where the New Orleans Saints are right now, or just the Saints are right now. What did you expect going into the season? Are you clearly not where you want to be, obviously, but are you surprised at the start? You guys gave the Buffalo Bills all they can handle last week. I was watching that game too, but let me know what your thoughts are right now with the start of this season for you guys. First 4 games.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all, Dash. I mean, when you think about the New Orleans Saints and the condition and the state that they're in, I mean, they're going through a rebuild. I mean, they're trying to figure out what they have as a team. They had a lot of older players on the roster, a lot of contracts, kicking the can down the road when it comes to contracts, and a lot of dead cap money. And when you practice and do things the way that the Saints have done for at least a decade, and you don't have anything to show for it, it was going to be hard times, man. So I wasn't surprised by it.
Okay.
This season, I'm just looking for the New Orleans Saints to just try to improve in some areas, and some of the draft picks and young players that they have to show improvement. And I think it's going to be this way at least for 2025 until 2026, where they can get their cap situation under control and maybe go out here and be competitive in free agency and also in the NFL draft.
Now listen, and you know what's funny? I was like I said, I've been watching a lot of your videos lately, and one of the things that caught my ear, you said, you said Saints fans want to rebuild, but they don't want the process of the rebuild.
Right.
Something like that you were saying. They don't want to go through the struggle of that. Now, I'll say that for the New York Giants, obviously we've hit the reset button a few times. Luckily for you guys had Peyton there for a while.
Right.
Again, yeah, Peyton there for a while. He had that stability at head coach for a while, and then to me, respectfully, I think he jumped ship on y'all.
Yeah.
I think he jumped ship, retired, and then came back when he saw something that he wanted to do.
Right.
But for me, as a Giants fan too, rough times, couple of different regimes. Thought we had it right in 2022 when Dable first got here with the coach of the year, got to the playoffs, and then you saw the 2 years after that we've been in a slum, and we're slowly trying to really become that rebuild that we should have did back in 2022. New quarterback, still held on to Daniel Jones for about 2 years too long. A lot of people to say that too. So I do feel the pain of the rebuild, and also I feel like a lot of our fans, outside of trying to get this team where it wants to be, you want the rebuild, but you really don't want to sit through it. And you know, patience level when it come to fans, me myself, I'm guilty for it. You want that microwave. You want that microwave dinner where it's quick, and sometimes it ain't the best for you, like a microwave dinner.
Yeah, I mean that's the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to take some tough times. So even us, not where I thought we would be with the 1-3 start. I thought we would be 2-2. I think we should have been 2-2 with that Dallas game. That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah,
for that game to end like that. But again, I understand what the growing pains are, and I think we have a roster that if we can get the coaching right, we should be able to do some things. So, getting back to the Saints in this whole Spencer Rattler thing, and the Shuck thing, right?
Right.
I know that's one of your favorite subjects. I know that's one of your favorite subjects, right?
You would think. I mean, I look at both quarterbacks. They both leave a lot to be desired, but that happens when you're dealing with two quarterbacks that are flawed. I mean, Spencer Rattler was a 5th-round draft pick a couple of years ago, and Tyler Shuck is a 2nd-round draft pick. And at this stage, I'm not ready to say that either one of these gentlemen is a franchise quarterback. I just think that the New Orleans Saints understand where they are right now. I think the Saints are doing something that a lot of people aren't paying attention to, and I think they are understanding for the first time in a long time that they need to go through this rebuilding process. And you mentioned when I was talking about everybody wants to rebuild, but nobody wants to endure the process. But the Saints have to go through this situation in order for them to be better as a football team. And sometimes it may involve bad product, but as long as you're trending in the right direction, as long as you're doing full evaluations on players to see who's going to be those cornerstone guys, who is going to be those guys to be able to help you get out of this muddy water. And, it's not watchable at times. It's frustrating. And if I didn't have obligations to watch the New Orleans Saints, probably would be doing something else.
Oh, man.
Sunday afternoon, Dash. But it is what it is right now. And as long as, once again, they're trending in the right direction, I have no problem with that. But both quarterbacks leave a lot to be desired, and it's going to be that way. That's just the way it goes when you're trying to develop young quarterbacks.
Yeah, for me, I was a fan of Spencer Rattler too, man. I watched him obviously in Oklahoma, and then when he went to South Carolina, and I just remember even the year that he came out, the Giants were still looking for that quarterback,
right?
And he wasn't high on my list either. He wasn't high on my list, but I knew, why not a 4th or 5th rounder for him or something like that. So I think you guys took a good chance with him because I do believe that he has a certain skill set that has not been tapped into yet. I saw a little bit of it. And again, I was watching the Bills game and I saw him take off a few times and I forgot that he had that scrambling ability.
Yeah.
And again, I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. For me personally, when it comes to Tyler Shuck, I hated Tyler Shuck. as far as because people rumored Tyler Shuck to the Giants. I'm like, the man's 26, 25, 26 years old. He'll be 25. I know I joked around. I called him 35 and stuff like that. But but I was like, man, and it's funny because I was a big Shador fan. I was driving the Shador bus all through preseason. Obviously, we didn't get him.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, well, and he made sense for the Saints. He made sense for a lot of teams. And I saw that once you guys took Tyler Shuck, I knew what the deal was.
Yeah.
But just to go back a little bit, just draft night, or I should say draft weekend, the collection of days. Do you feel like Shuck at that time? Do you feel like Shuck was the right choice at that time, given all other quarterbacks that were on the board?
Actually, no, man. My top choice was either Shadur Sanders or your quarterback Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. Look, I had an opportunity, Dash, to be a part of the entire draft process. Like I was at the NFL Combine. I mean, I was there when Shadur Sanders was at the podium, and a couple of your media guys were surrounding. We're just standing there waiting for him to speak, and one of the guys comes into the room and says, like, the Giants are out on Shadur Sanders. And it was like everybody was asking why, and it was like Brian Daboll didn't like how he was at the whiteboard and he was drawing like all these different concepts at him and stuff, and he didn't like the response. And that kind of started the whole process. A lot of people don't realize that, but Shadur Sanders was my choice. I mean, some people would say I'm kind of biased. His first stop with Jackson State University, that's my alma mater. But I just thought that he was a really talented quarterback, man. I mean, the guy is accurate. He's confident. He checks all the boxes. And I think some of the things that are wrong with him in some people's eyes are fixable. And Jackson Dart, I mean, look, I was there for all of the quarterbacks when they were throwing. It was pretty obvious that he was the best thrower of the football out of all of those quarterbacks. I mean, the skills that he showcased, the confidence, the poise, and everything else. I mean, even from at the end of the whole throwing session, him running down the field, like he was so polarizing. So those were the two guys that I was looking at. Tyler Shuck, his name started to kind of percolate a little bit because of the process. It always is like that, Dash. There's always that one quarterback that I call the Phoenix quarterback who rises from the ashes. Nobody really pays attention to. All of a sudden, he starts interviewing well, throwing the ball pretty decent. Some of these coaches that haven't been watching these collegiate players, they start watching how he throws the football, and his name started to come up. But he's a talented guy, but I know he was one of those guys that was going to be a work in progress. And you mentioned his age. That was a big red flag for me. The problem is you're waiting for a guy to develop in the next year or two when he's going to be about 27 or 28 years old. It'll be a completely different story if you're drafting a 21-year-old and around 23, 24, he's everything that you need him to be. So it just was one of those situations where if you need a quarterback right away, like the Saints do, you will have to expedite the process. And by expediting the process, it might cause you to have him out here prematurely. Luckily, Spencer Rattler was there, and he's able to sit on the bench. But I think you'll end up seeing him. But the two quarterbacks I was most interested in was Shadur and Jackson Dart.
Yeah, it's funny too because today Jackson Dart was asked about his process, and he did say that the Saints played a big role. You guys interviewed him. He had some good visits with you guys as well. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that he thought that Saints were one of those teams that possibly could have landed him as well. So it's funny that you mentioned that too. Now I'm looking down at your roster. I know you guys been dealing with some injuries. I just saw that what's his name? Ruiz, your guard. The guard, right. He's hurt. He might not be playing. Has that come out yet? Is he playing? Is he not playing?
No. He has a high ankle sprain, so he's going to be out about 4 to 6 weeks. But I don't think Saints fans are losing any sleep because some would consider him as an offensive lineman liability. So,
wow.
Yeah, so they're actually – I don't want to say they're glad because you're never excited to see someone hurt. But the fact that he's been playing so poorly – according to PFF, I think he's ranked 86 out of 88 offensive linemen. Like it's pretty bad, man. But unfortunately, he's hurt. You never want to see a guy get hurt, but he does leave a lot to be desired. So it's kind of a mixed bag there, man.
Yeah. Anybody else coming back? I know you had Chase Young that was out. You had Taysom Hill. I heard rumors about him possibly being ready. Anything about those guys coming back?
Yeah, well, Taysom Hill and as well as Foster Moreau, they got hurt.
Yep.
And Taysom got hurt in week 17 of last year, and Foster Moreau in week 18, and they both had some very serious knee injuries. And this is the first week that they're practicing. They came off the PUP list. Like, they give them 21 days to be activated to the 53-man roster. But, I mean, I don't think the New Orleans Saints would have activated them if they didn't have a chance to be able to play pretty soon. I don't think they're going to play Sunday, but probably against the Patriots. So, but it is good to see both of those guys back. The offense can definitely use a Taysom Hill, everything that he can bring to the table. And Foster Moreau is more of a blocking tight end, but he also can get active in the receiving game as well, especially in the red zone. So as many offensive weapons the New Orleans Saints can get at their disposal at this point is the better.
Yeah, so well, that's good too. But what about Chase Young though? You didn't mention Chase. Is Chase coming back or not ready yet?
No, well, Chase Young, they just automatically just ruled him out. He's been dealing with a calf injury since I want to say the practice that was leading up to week number 1. I just finished talking about that on the State of the Saints podcast, where when the report first came out, the Saints kind of minimized it a little bit, made it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal. One of the media members down in New Orleans asked Chase Young as he was leaving practice, like, is it something serious? You're going to be out for a long time? And he said aggressively no. But it just seemed like it's something way more serious than what they probably thought it was. I spoke with an orthopedic surgeon who was a friend to the show. He said it's probably like a grade 2 calf injury that takes maybe 4 to 8 weeks to heal. So, look, man, it's unfortunate. Chase Young was playing some really good football. People felt like he was starting to turn a corner. And this 3-4 defense that Brandon Staley brought to New Orleans seemed like it was going to resurrect his career and make him extremely active. So, but he's not going to be available in this game. So somebody else is going to have to step up.
And then how you guys liking Staley right now?
I think it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I mean, the New Orleans Saints have played more of a base 4-3 defense for a long time. You got a lot of 4-3 guys still on the team.
Yep.
And these guys got to get acclimated. And man, I mean, y'all play a 3-4 out there. It takes a special type of group of players to be able to play that. And sometimes, like when you make that transition, you may need a few drafts as well as a few off seasons to get everybody that you need for you to be an active defense. A lot of young, inexperienced guys need to learn to be pros. But I don't have a problem with Brandon Staley. Come up and down. But at the end of the day, you only can roll with what you got, right? I mean, look, you can't cook a gourmet meal, and you got minimal ingredients. You get me? You need everything that you need in order for that meal to taste good. So right now, I mean, the New Orleans Saints are trying to cook a meal up, and they're using some great value. They're using some generic products right now, man. So you already know it might do the trick for right now, but it ain't gonna taste as good as some of that top shelf stuff that you can use at your Whole Foods. So
that's a fact. And like I said, even with the Giants, when if you ask Giants fans, we're split, man. We always want to go back to that 4-3, but we spent so much time building this 3-4 from when Wink got here. Right. And we got the roster is built for the 3-4 right now outside of the corners, because our corners, we got press corners. You're familiar with one of the corners that we picked up with Debo. Yeah. But we play a lot of zone on the back end, man. And a lot of people, when things aren't going right, like last week, nobody's going to really have any complaints because we won the game. We got some interceptions and stuff like that. But prior to that, man, Shane Bowen, our defensive coordinator, we got him on the hot seat. We ready to get rid of him right away. Cornerbacks at blame. Everybody's at blame. But then once you see his scheme work, and basically his scheme, how he wants it to work is if he can get pressure with the 4, he can sit back in the zone on the back end. Yeah. And if we can get pressure with the 4, he's fine. Everybody else is happy. But this was the first week that we really got everything put together with the Chargers against the Chargers, and that defense was firing all cylinders. Still got issues with stopping the run, and that's the next place I want to go, man. Alvin Kamara, and then you got the new kid Miller. Mm-hmm. Is it Kendra Miller? Right? No, right. Miller. Yeah. So and again, I haven't got a chance to watch all your games. I did watch the Buffalo Bills game. I watched it last night and the day before that too. I saw some all 22, and then I watched the through the NFL package. You got the condensed version.
Right.
So I watched you guys, And I was like, man, well, you guys had some success running the ball. Like I said, some success throwing the ball. Spencer Rattler was scrambling. Obviously, the Bills are the Bills at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you guys kept it close up front.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, you guys scored first too, right?
No, actually they scored, but the New Orleans Saints on their first possession ended up scoring a touchdown. But that's the first time they did that in a long time, man. I forgot they can actually score opening drive touchdown. But yeah.
That's the funny thing too, because we had our first opening drive touchdown as well with Jackson Dart last week. But I'm seeing Miller, I'm seeing Kamara, man, and I'm hearing rumors about Kamara possibly being a trading option if you guys can start winning games. But I do like that 1-2 punch of those two guys, man. How do you feel about the running game?
Well, I think that the running game is trending in the right direction. I think that it helped having all of the members of the offensive line intact for the first time. It was unfortunate that Cesar Reeves left, but I mean, Trevor Penning, who they moved from right tackle to left guard, he was dealing with turf toe. That was his first game back. And it seemed like the continuity was playing a role. And it also, helped the running backs to be able to, run the football effectively. And also, you mentioned earlier about Spencer Rattler, the running game, using his legs, which I feel like is key. So it kind of inflated the running game, 34 carries, I believe, for like 183 yards. But I also take that with a grain of salt, Dash, because as good as the Buffalo Bills are, they're one of the worst run defenses in football. True. And sometimes, when you go up against a team and they struggle in certain areas, you may have this false sense of reality of where you are as a team. So I think it matters who you play. I think that this could be a confidence booster, especially for a young player like Kendre Miller. Look, when the Saints drafted him a couple of years ago coming out of TCU, they looked at him to be that succession plan to an Alvin Kamara, to maybe be that next Mark Ingram. But he didn't really live up to expectations. He was in a doghouse of former head coach Dennis Allen. He had a hard time getting on the field. It seemed like he wasn't a student of the game, but it seemed like he's dialed in this season. He came in some of the best shape since he's been a pro, and it seems like he's approaching things the right way. And sometimes it's not about just being athletic, making guys miss and breaking tackles. You got to be able to do the little things, like being able to understand how to pick up a blitz, how to be able to be there for your team and be available. And I think that Kendre Miller, the light is coming on for him. And it's coming at the right time because Alvin Kamara still is a talented running back. I feel like the Saints kind of hold him back. And a lot of people have forgotten about how dynamic he is because of how the offense has looked over the last few years. But it's good to see that Kendre Miller is starting to be what the Saints expect for him to be. And they also have a very talented rookie named Devin Neal, who they drafted out of Kansas, who played in week 1. We haven't seen him, but I think that he shows a lot of promise. And I think he can be that next Alvin Kamara because he's a very smart football player. I just think that the way the depth chart is kind of lined up, it prohibiting him from being on the field. But the 1-2 punch of Miller and Kamara can serve a purpose. But they got to approach this game completely different. Buffalo was 1 week. I mean, the Giants are a completely different team, and they have some really talented guys. So if you go in thinking because we ran 180 yards against Buffalo, we're going to do it against the Giants, I mean, I don't think you need to approach it that way.
Yeah, well, again, we still got issues with stopping the run. We got a little bit better at stopping the run up the middle. Still, we still can get clipped going to the outside. And I think about the speed that you guys have at running back with Kamara, also with Miller, and that part makes me think about, okay, well, can we set a steady edge throughout the game? Can we? Because right now, in all honesty, man, I like the way that our nickel cornerback Andrew Phillips has been filling up in the run game. So he's been doing a good job there, but we still need to set that consistent edge. But I think that's one of the spots that you guys probably would test us at. You mentioned Devin Neal, man. I forgot that you guys got him. I was a fan of his in Kansas. He was put on my radar against the Colorado Buffaloes a year back. He had a fantastic game against them. But he was a 4-year starter, 5-year? Actually,
he was a 4-year starter, man. And like you said, he's a smart football player. I believe his father was a coach. And sometimes, man, when you're that, you come from a family of coaches, you learn very early about the little things that it takes to be a professional athlete, I like the way that he runs. He missed like a lot of time during the offseason process. He only played in the final game of preseason, but it was pretty obvious that the Saints got something special in Neal. So I'm interested to see him play down the line. I think they'll probably end up letting him play as the season goes on. But I mean, right now, Miller and Kamara are doing what they need to do in order for the Saints to generate success in the running game.
Now, was that due to injury for Devin Neal? He just couldn't find his way in on the depth chart.
No, actually, it was a hamstring injury. I mean, he was doing really well. All reports were positive about how he was coming along, and it just kind of happened midway through preseason or right before preseason started, and it was a crushing blow. But normally in a situation like that, and this shows you how special he is. He was a 6th-round draft pick, man. Usually teams don't wait around and give 6th-round draft picks opportunities to even make the team if they get hurt. But they see something special in Devin Neal. And it was pretty obvious when he ran in week 3 of preseason that, I mean, what the Saints see in him is justified. And also his opportunities in week 1 versus Arizona, I think that it really showed people that the future is bright for Devin Neal.
Yeah, that running back class in 2025 was deep too, man. That was a talented class, man. And I thought we were going to get another running back out of that class, and we didn't. Another one outside of Cam Scatterable. Very, very happy with Cam Scatterable. Since we talking about running backs, I do want to get to the super chat really quickly. And the funny thing is, I've been watching the chat. The back and forth has been phenomenal between the Saints and the Giants fans. the trash talking back and forth. Shout out to my that dark friend with the $2 super chat. He says going to be Spencer rattled after this game. Not Spencer rattled. Listen, I hope so, man. Again, this defense looked like they woke up. He was able to get pressure with Tibbs, and Tibbs has been quietly having probably one of his best seasons. Definitely is starting. And then when you add Burns and Abdul Carter, man, I really hope that we can build off of what happened last week. Want to talk about just what Kellen Moore has brought to the Saints, right, man? I don't know how Saints fans, ultimately feel about him. I don't know what the temperature in the room is for him. But it seems to me that he is bringing the right direction because you guys look competitive in these games. Yeah. I don't know how much he's changed things and stuff like that. Obviously, you have the DC and all that. What's the if you could try to pinpoint what the issue is with the Saints? Is it more on the offensive side? Is it more on the defensive side? Is it a combination of both? What is it that it just isn't? I know you spoke about the roster and and the ingredients on the roster, so that might be it as well. But what do you think?
Well, I just think that this is a team that has to learn how to win. They got to learn how to just become professionals, man. I mean, a lot of young, inexperienced guys. I know I keep saying that, but I mean, that's just the truth. I don't think anybody is really judging Kellen Moore based on 2025 because to me, it would be unfair to do so. I mean, they know what Kellen Moore inherited. It was one of the main reasons why the New Orleans Saints had such a tough time even getting a head coach, right? I mean, there were so many different coaches that they requested interviews, and they were like, no thanks, because the Saints had roster issues, they had cap issues, and, in the NFL, people don't care about the situations, right? They only judge you based on wins and losses. That's it, right? They don't put things into context, and some guys didn't want to touch that. And credit to Kellen Moore for being brave enough and bold enough to take on the challenge of being the New Orleans Saints head coach. So I think a lot of people gave him credit just for that. He's a young guy. He kind of fits that mold of the modern NFL. Everybody wants a young 30-something head coach. He's a guy that's been around, coach for a long time, and he's bringing his own little style to the team. I think that we're learning about Kellen Moore each week because he's learning to become a coach each and every week. You see the Saints being competitive in every single game, for the exception of Seattle. But to me, I feel like it really showed you how good of a coach he can possibly be by the Saints getting embarrassed by Seattle 44-13. But then they turn around and play against Buffalo and put forth a valiant effort, man. I mean, they minimized the mistakes. The Saints were ranked like one of the worst penalized teams in football. Going into the game versus Buffalo, they were tied with the Tennessee Titans for the most penalized team in football. But last week versus Buffalo, they only had 4 penalties. And that's incredible, man. Going up to Western New York in that hostile environment and able to only come away with just 4 penalties, no false start penalties, holding penalties that have been plaguing this team for weeks. So just seeing those type of things shows you that maybe the New Orleans Saints got the right coach. I think you'll start to really fully evaluate Kellen Moore in 2026 where he has 2 drafts under his belt, and maybe he's a little bit more solidified as a coach and maybe a little bit more grounded in what he wants to do and what he wants to bring to the table and what type of culture he wants to bring to New Orleans.
Yeah, I like the background of Kellen Moore, man. I like, quarterback for Dallas, and then was ended up being a coach at Dallas, and then he went to the Chargers for a little bit. Then he went to the Eagles, got the Super Bowl there and all that. I do believe that if you guys give him time, he can most likely put a team together that reflects how he likes to play ball. I will say this though, because we never got a chance of what he really liked to do. He did mostly what I guess what the head coach wanted him to do. You saw him,
Right.
with the Eagles, ran the ball heavy, but you got Saquon and you got Jalen Hurts. You get to the Saints. How do you feel he's trying? What's his vision? Has he shared his vision for the team, or is it more of a push the ball downfield? Is it a 50-50 run pass? Like what do you think his ultimate goal was? Has he shared that with the fan base or with anybody that you know, or with you, I should say?
Well, I don't think he necessarily has a goal right now.
Okay.
I think what he did with Philly is what he's trying to bring to New Orleans. Like with the Philadelphia Eagles, they had a very talented running back. They had some very talented players, and he utilized those players. And I think he's trying to do the same thing with the Saints. He's trying to get the top players involved. You see Chris Olave, he's one of the most targeted wide receivers in the game, trying to get him the football, trying to utilize Alvin Kamara. And also, just trying to, implement the running game, even bringing Juwan Johnson, the tight end, using him a little bit more as that big body target possession type guy, because the Saints right now don't really have that go-to possession guy that most teams rely on in third down situations and in the red zone. So he's using what the New Orleans Saints have right now. It's kind of hard to determine what type of philosophy he wants to bring to New Orleans. I think right now he's just looking at the roster, looking around the team, seeing what he has, and trying to put those players in the best position to be able to thrive offensively.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat too, because I'm seeing a lot of people saying I think it's an up-tempo team. That's what Noah your aunt was saying. And then where's the other one? It was another one that they were saying, he had a joke about why he was bounced around because he ain't a good coach. That was Jerry. Is Jerry one of your regulars? That Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry. Yeah, that's my guy right there, man. Shouts out to Jerry.
Yeah, he been active in the chat. Shout out to Luann. I saw Luann was in the building. Shout out to D-Dan also in the building. I see my man Junior plays with the Europe. What's going on, Junior? So, man, I'm gonna start talking about this game, man, and the keys to victory, man. I always say the same thing every week because when it comes to football, 101 is being able to run the ball and stop the run, right? That's never going to change, no matter how long people have been playing the game and how it evolves. You got to be able to run the ball, stop the run, especially when you get into the playoffs. When I think about the Saints, right, and actually before I do that, you mentioned Chris Olave, man. A lot of Giants fans want to trade for Chris Olave. Is Chris Olave on the market? I'm just ask you that question. Nah,
I don't think he's on the market, but man, I don't look at Chris Olave as a top receiver. I just don't.
Okay.
Like people give me a lot of flack for that. But I just think that being a number one receiver is a mind frame. It's not just about catching the football. It's not about just being a disciplined route runner. It's a state of mind. Sometimes those guys can be a little bit territorial when it comes to not getting targets. I mean, we seen that on Monday night. I mean, Jamar Chase unhappy, going at Zach Taylor. You got to have that mind frame. I mean, Malik Neighbors, man. I mean, this guy wants the football. It's unfortunate what happened with him. I'm pretty sure we'll get into that in a minute. But it's a mind frame, Dash, and I don't feel like Chris Olave has that. He has all the tools to be a number one, but I just feel like that extra switch is missing. But I mean, if he was to go to another team, I think he'll find success. If you was to align him alongside Malik Neighbors, I think they'll eat. But to say, okay, let's trade for Chris Olave because we need a number one, I don't know, man. I think he'll probably leave, some fan base, if he was to get traded, scratching their head wondering why did they make that trade? He's not a number one.
Yeah, like I said, I say a lot of people because for me, one thing that scared me for him is the concussions. That was one thing. Yeah, I was like, so the concussion scared me, and then to your same point, it's like, okay, is he that alpha dog as far as does he have that mentality? And I'm glad you gave me some background on that because again, I don't know. I saw him at Ohio State. Once he got to the Saints, I lost track of him a little bit. Was it? But when he played with Carr, though, was he utilized with Carr? Was he one of the main targets for Carr? Not even with Carr. Not even.
I mean, he was a main target. I mean, he's the number one guy due to the depth chart. So of course they're gonna try to target him. But I just noticed, like, in big time moments when they need big plays, they will look to Rashid Shaheed. And to me, like, I can't just accept, Rashid Shaheed is just faster. He can take the top off the defense. Because Dash, I mean, if you was watching them at Ohio State,
fast.
Who was the deep threat guy? He was.
Yeah.
Coming out of Ohio State at the NFL Combine, he ran a 4.26.
Yeah.
So he's a burner in his own right. And just because you have a guy, Shaheed, that can take the top off the defense, doesn't mean you can't utilize him in that regard. So I just always just looked at that. Like, a number one receiver to me is the guy that everybody in the building knows who's getting the football in the final minutes of the game, and it really doesn't matter. He's going to come down with that football. And I have not seen that enough from Chris Olave.
Yeah, I like what Jerry said here. He said Olave was drafted to be a weapon for Jameis because Jameis can throw down the field. And it's funny too, because I saw somebody else said bring Jameis home. Listen, man, I keep telling people, if y'all want a quarterback, y'all can take Russ. We're gonna keep Jameis. We got him on a cheap deal. We got him for 2 years. You know what I mean? I'm looking at 2026, not necessarily 2025. So now I do want to get into the game plan. The matchup between the Saints and the Giants, and obviously you mentioned Malik Neighbors going down, and then it's like going back to the drawing board. And since he went down, I've been battling a lot back and forth on Twitter, social media, because a lot of people, first thing they want to do, they want to trade for somebody. Can we trade for T. Higgins? Can we trade for Chris Olave? Can we trade for Tyreek Hill before that injury happened with Tyreek Hill too? And I'm just like, pump the brakes. First of all, we ain't got enough money to do that. Second, I'm not trying to give up draft capital if we're not talking about a team that's contending for a Super Bowl. Why would we make a move like that?
Yeah.
But I slowed down and I thought about it, man. I'm looking at my own roster. I'm looking at one guy in particular in Jalen Hyatt. I'm saying if there's any other time for this man to finally be able to step up and make his presence known, it would be in the absence of Malik Neighbors. So hopefully this week, I think we still try to the run game is probably going to be what we try to do until we figure out exactly what the route concepts are going to be with this change of these wide receivers. So as far as preparing for this Giants defense and this pass rush, not necessarily the secondary or the second level with the linebackers, and dealing with some of the issues you had with the offensive line, what do you think the best game plan is for your offense going against this pass rush for the Giants?
Well, I mean, I just think that you got to get the ball out of Spencer Rattler's hands pretty quickly. Like you talked about some of the pass rush, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. I mean, Sexy Dexy Lawrence. Like these guys can get after the quarterback consistently. And also you got a Karake who's a tackling machine out there. Like, you got to get the ball out of the hands of Spencer Rattler really quickly, and be able to push the ball down the field. I expect for the New Orleans Saints to use a little bit of tempo to maybe keep the defensive assignments that may be favorable for matchups on the field, and just stay ahead of the chains. I mean, look, you're playing a home game. You don't have to worry about the crowd noise. You can kind of be a little bit of a workman when it comes to the offense, but you got to be able to get the ball out of Spencer Rattler's hands. Like, you cannot hold the ball too long because these guys can rush the quarterback. And, you start speeding up the clock in the head of a quarterback. Next thing you know, a mistake happens, and then opportunity may come in a secondary in the form of an interception. And I believe you all had like 2 turnovers last week. So, look, you got to be able to get the ball out of Spencer Rattler's hands and keep pushing the ball down the field, and also have a balanced attack. Like, keep the defense of the New York Giants on their heels. And, if there's an opportunity and you start to notice maybe you're running running the ball effectively, or pushing the ball in the middle of the field, like you talk about the zone defense, there's soft spots there. Like, utilizing that. I mean, you got to be able to read the ebbs and flows of the game. But, it's going to be a tough matchup. But it starts with Spencer Rattler getting that ball out of his hands.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too, man, because I think it's the same approach even for us. Even when it was Russell Wilson playing, it was all about timing. You got to get the ball out quick because our offensive line is not one of the strong offensive line, but one of the the worst not the worst, but we're one of the bottom half offensive line. We've actually been playing a lot better. We've been able to run the ball in recent weeks, and we have been able to have a clean pocket. But nobody's going to look at the New York Giants and say that offensive line is doing their thing right now.
Yeah.
I would, like I said, when I'm looking at your offense, right, and again, it seems like to me when I just look at the stat line that Spencer Rattler has been careful with the ball. You know, I believe he only had one interception on the year, and he's trying his best to, like I said, to keep that offense on the field, keep the sticks moving. For me, I think the game plan is the same defensively for the Giants. Is you got to get pressure on Spencer. You got to my man's point, you got to rattle him. You know, not to play on his name and stuff like that, but you got to rattle him. And if you can do that, to your point, you can cause some mistakes, maybe get a couple of overthrows and take advantage of that opportunity. I'm going to ask a question too. Does Rattler get many passes batted at the line or no?
No, I haven't really seen too many batted passes at the line of scrimmage. I mean, but he is a smaller quarterback, man. He's not the tallest guy in the world. And when you're going up against some of these big pass rushers, I mean, if they're getting their hands up, man, they can get their hands on some of these footballs and get those pass deflections. So, but I haven't seen it as much. It seems like the New Orleans Saints, they try to maybe set up like the play action, maybe roll him out of the pocket a little bit, have him on the move. They mostly do that like when you have like smaller quarterbacks or those that maybe a little bit athletic than most. So not too many batted passes because of the style of play that he plays as quarterback.
Yeah, because before last week, before we were able to actually get constant pressure, I thought that was always something that we needed to do. If we couldn't get to the quarterback, get the hands up so you can bat down some balls and stuff like that. And I know Baker Mayfield is that type where he falls into that category where we can bat down a lot of balls, but I wasn't sure about Spencer Rattler. Switching it to your defense, man. You got two guys, older guys on your team that seem to found the fountain of youth. They don't get old. Cam Jordan, the guy, don't get old. Demario Davis still seemed like he's at the top of his game. I was watching him flying around the field, against the Buffalo Bills. Not too familiar with your secondary though, and obviously, you lost two of them. You lost Lattimore, and then you lost to Debo too. Who actually took those spots over for in the secondary? Like, how do you feel about the secondary, safeties, cornerbacks, stuff like that?
Well, I guess the phrase that I would use to describe the secondary is a work in progress. Right now, Kool-Aid McKinstry, he's in the second year out of University of Alabama.
That's right.
And also Isaac Yadam, who the New Orleans Saints brought back. He's more of like a role type cornerback, not a guy that
we had him on the Giants for a year.
Right. I mean, in a different situation, he's not a starter. They have used Quincy Riley, the rookie out of Louisville. He came into the game when Isaac Adams struggled early in the game versus the Bills. And he did a good job, man. He's played in spurts. He forced a fumble a couple of weeks ago versus Seattle. So, I think that the sky's the limit for that kid. And also in the secondary, you have safety Justin Reed, who came over from the Kansas City Chiefs, a multi-time Super Bowl champion with them. And also Ernest Sinker, who the Saints end up drafting in the third round out of Virginia. He's playing because Julian Blackmon, who the Saints signed on a one-year deal, end up dealing with a injury that has him out for the season. So you have a combination of young, inexperienced guys back there still learning. But, I mean, they can give up big plays. They're susceptible to getting beat consistently quite a bit. And the tackling kind of has been a little bit spotty. So I think that there are going to be opportunities for Jackson Dart to be able to push the ball down the field. I mean, I know Malik Neighbors isn't there, but, I got a lot of respect for guys like Darian Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson. I think that Wan'Dale Robinson, he went over 100 yards a couple weeks ago in Dallas. So, I mean, he's a playmaker, man. He's a dynamic guy. I'm still waiting for Jalen Hyatt to, maybe live up to that potential. I mean, him coming out of University of Tennessee, I mean, we know how talented he was. But, I don't think he really just has lived up to the potential. But this could be a great opportunity for him, man. I mean, every single year, when I'm watching New York Giants, Twitter or reports, everybody's talking about, Jalen Hyatt. So there's an opportunity for him to step up in the absence of Malik Neighbors. And also being able to, neutralize the running game. Now, I know Tyrone Tracy has been out for the last couple of weeks. I don't know if he's playing or not.
It looks like he's going to be out this week, too.
Yeah, but I mean, so you're rolling with Cam Scatterboo and Devin Singletary, who's a formidable running back in his own right. But I mean, you're gonna have to be able to like stop the run. You can't give the running game of the New York Giants hope. Like I understand Cam Scatterboo. I mean, he played like he has a screw loose. Like he just relished the fact of being, going toe to toe, colliding into somebody. It's just kind of the way that he is. So you got to be able to get him down on the ground and being able to stop the run. And also, trying to get pressure on Jackson Dart. I mean, he's a young quarterback. He's going, and also you're gonna have to put a spy out on him. Like he's a guy that can run outside the pocket and he can make plays with his legs. So you got to keep him in a pocket. You got to kind of confuse him if you're Brandon Staley, and you got to throw some things at him that maybe he's not ready for. But defensively, they're just going to have to put forward a better performance. I expect for them to play more zone in this game instead of man. They tried to play man last week. And it didn't work out for them. I don't think they got a lot of man coverage type corners. Okay. So there are going to be opportunities for the Giants to be able to get some passes through, but the Saints are going to have to tackle. So that's the key to victory to me: getting pressure on Jackson Dart, keeping them in a pocket, and also sound tackling.
Yeah, for me, with Neighbors being out, and some people might call me crazy, I think in the long run, it might actually help Jackson Dart's development because he doesn't have that crutch of Malik Neighbors to just, Malik's down there somewhere. Let me throw the ball down to Malik. And we saw that happen even with the injury to Malik Neighbors. That was on a free play. Guy was offsides. He just threw it down there to see if they could make a play. And then obviously the injury happens. But I think what it does, losing Malik Neighbors, it forces the coaches, the head coach, the OC to dig a little bit deep into that bag. And to your point with Wan'Dale Robinson, get more creative with him. He's a gadget guy, Darius Slayton. A lot of people sleep on Darius Slayton, but he's been constant for us, even as Giants fans. Some people sleep on him as well. But I think the usage of the tight ends is what's going to work. Right. We've been heavy 12 personnel. We've been even some 13 personnel. We've seen with we got tight ends in the backfield because we don't have a traditional fullback. And the RPO is something that teams knew it that we could do, but they didn't see it because there's no tape on Dart. And so we finally got a week of worth of tape for Jackson Dart. Some teams have something to prepare for. And I think that's when now, we saw him run the ball. We saw him get, move the chains with his legs. This game, we're going to have to depend on the quick game, getting that ball out quicker. And, and I always want to utilize the tight ends. I think outside of having a good running game, the tight end is a quarterback's best friend outside of a running game, especially a young quarterback. So that was my deal, man. Just thinking about the different levels of your defense, where the soft spots might be. Again, you said you guys might go zone again this week, and it's the same thing, trying to find the soft spots. Throw the ball to wherever that guy vacates and sit there. But I'm hoping that this offense, this offensive line, though it's not the best, they have been playing together the last couple of games. Andrew Thomas coming back off an injury. This will be his third game back. He looks pretty solid. And I think if we can protect Jackson Dart, then hopefully we can get that ball spread around, man. But again, I wasn't expecting to see what I saw when I watched the Bills game. You guys versus the Bills, and see how you guys were flying around. And even the offense, I was kind of impressed by it because, before the season started, even as a Giants fan, you're looking for the wins. You're trying to see on your schedule where these wins could be. We didn't have too many that we was thinking about. And then, I always like the Saints. It's in New Orleans, though. And we never played the Saints good in New Orleans outside of that 1 year that Daniel Jones went off and with Saquon Barkley. I think that was 21.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, can this be one of those games? And then after the slow start 0-3, a lot of us didn't believe that we were possibly going to beat the Chargers. And we said, well, if we don't win by that Saints game, the coach is fired, this guy's fired, this, that, and the other. So now we got a little bit, that pressure subsides a little bit, but it's still going to be a challenge going against the Saints, man. And I'm not going to take you guys lightly at all. I always respect the opponent. But I'm just sitting here like, man, 0-4, you guys got a lot to lose right now. But we also at 1-3 got a lot to lose too, because after you, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, and then the Broncos, and then the Eagles. So I don't want to overlook any games, but I think it's important for us to try to get this win here. I'm sorry, what you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I mean, it's important for both teams because, make no mistake about it. I mean, look, you all know Brian Daboll is on a hot seat. Joe Shane, the general manager of the Giants, is on a hot seat. Like we heard the reports, right? The owner, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. I heard that he was diagnosed with cancer, but but at the end of the day, he already said, man, maybe some things gonna have to change. If things continue to happen the way that they have been over the last couple of years. Because make no mistake about it, Brian Daboll was hired to try to get the best out of Daniel Jones. He couldn't get the best out of Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is in Indianapolis. Looked like he's living his best life, playing some really good, solid football. That doesn't make him look good as a quarterback whisperer. He has another opportunity. I can understand like why he was slapping five and bumping chest with Jackson Dart, because Jackson Dart's success is tied to him. Jackson Dart being out there playing the way that he did versus the Chargers, playing with that intensity, that enthusiasm, and is radiating off of him to the team. It is beneficial to the success and the coaching tenure of Brian Daboll. So this is a big time game for both teams. You go into New Orleans and maybe drop this game. Now everybody's talking about, man, this dude needs to go. We gave you an opportunity to come in to help Daniel Jones. It didn't work. Then we allowed you to get another quarterback in Jackson Dart that shows promise, and you can't even beat the lowly New Orleans Saints at this point. So both teams have something to prove. Brian Daboll for the Giants, Spencer Rattler for the Saints. I mean, Spencer Rattler hasn't won a game as a starter. And now you got Tyler Shuck sitting on the bench. People are starting to wonder now, can Spencer Rattler win football games for you? And if you can't beat the Giants, once again, then everybody's looking like, man, maybe you can't win a football game. Let's see what this other young quarterback has and try to see if he can actually provide a spark. And if he doesn't, based on how the season is going, Dash, you might be picking in the top three. So it's good to see what you actually have in these two quarterbacks. So if they're not everything that you want them to be, then you can go in 2026 knowing what you need to do in the first round. So this is big for both teams. Both teams need to find a way to win this football game, because like there's very little respect for these NFL teams that are playing on Sunday when it comes to like being contenders, winning the division. So they're both looking at each other the same way. And if this can be a big time, if this can be a big time game for both teams, if they end up losing, some things can change. Both in the front office for the Giants, coaching wise, and also when it comes to the Saints, the quarterback position.
Yeah, I want to go to this comment right here by Justin Wallace. Justin Wallace says, besides the Seattle game, we were in every game. And and like I said, when we talk about the Saints and the Giants, I mean, we might not, as Giant fans, we might not want to say, you know what, it's like looking in the mirror. We were competitive in all our games as well. Like I said, when you look at these teams, and like we feel like we should have won some more games than what we won already too. I also want to go to where's it at? It was another comment. See if I can find it again. I don't know if I can find it. Where'd he go? Solidary Camp said, you guys sound like us. Pretty much the comparison.
The story is basically the same. The only difference is, Dash, y'all can fire your head coach and general manager. See, we stuck with our general manager over here. Like
talking about Loomis, right, Mickey?
Yeah. I mean, he at the top. Like he third in command of the team on top, being the GM. So we doomed. Like at least y'all know if things don't work out, y'all can get Joe Shane up out of there. Y'all can get Brian Daboll out too. But right now, man, I mean, it's rough.
Now, I like the point that you made about again Daboll being on a hot seat and how important this game is too, because even though Jackson Dart starting now, you got to win. All it takes is one more loss for all that negative energy to come right back for the fan base. Right. And then and to your point too, you saw the way that Brian Daboll was acting after the game. They had the sights for sounds they put up today. And you see him after the Jackson Dart touchdown, he's yelling to the crowd, "That's our effing guy right there." Mm. So he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to get him on the field with draft night. He said, "We depending on you. I'm depending on you." I think he feels the pressure. For me, I'm sitting here like, okay. Shout out to my man D Kid. He said it right after the game when it comes to Jackson Dart, because again, a lot of us were big Shedeur Sanders fans. And when it came to Jackson Dart, it's like, okay, we see the competitiveness, we see the toughness, we see him, being able to make all the throws. Might not have that same cannon of an arm, but being able to make all the throws still. But just getting back to his competitiveness, when I was watching him last week, it seemed like it was not too big for him. And it seemed like in some cases where you might have a quarterback that kind of like falls or folds under the pressure, he looks for that pressure, and it feels like, okay, well, we see that part of his game now. Do we have the right coaching staff to get the best out of him? And that's what we're gonna find out in the next couple of weeks for sure. With that, but getting to that time, want to ask you for a prediction for the game. I don't know if you do predictions. Some people do, some people don't. But I always ask if you got a prediction for the game and just some closing notes as far as this game, this matchup between the Giants and the Saints.
Well, I got the Saints winning this football game because, I think that they have to win this football game. Like Spencer Rattler has to win this football game. It's imperative that he wins this football game. Like you can understand losing to the 49ers. They're contenders. You can understand and losing to the Seattle Seahawks. Looking at them, they look like they pretty legit a playoff team at least. And you definitely can understand losing to the Buffalo Bills. They're probably the best team in AFC. But, no disrespect to the Giants, but this is where the Saints are right now. Like these two teams are pretty much mirrors of one another. They both are trying to figure out what they actually have as an organization, what they have on the team as far as personnel. Like this is a game where if you don't win, this could be your game where the Saints might go to you and say, look, we appreciate the effort, but we're going to roll with Tyler Shuck. This is going to be that game because next week the Saints play the Patriots. And, that's the team that's trying to figure it out too with a young quarterback. So this could be the last chance for Spencer Rattler. I think that both teams match up pretty well. The last time they played last year, I think that they matched up pretty well also. And that's when, you had some issues offensively and defensively as well. So this is a game I feel like the Saints need to win. And I think it's going to be close throughout. I think that both teams are going to be fighting because they understand what it means for the organization as well as some players. So I think they're going to play for one another, but I think the Saints are going to end up getting a victory.
Yeah. So obviously, I believe the Giants can win this game too. Playing out in New Orleans because of the history of us playing out there and not having that many victories out there in the Superdome is one thing. My deal is this for the New York Giants and this defense. Last week was the first week we really played with a lead, and we really forced another team to in the obvious passing downs, and we saw this team get after it. We saw the defensive line get after it, the edges get after it. My whole deal is this, man. Got to be smart with the ball, especially for Jackson Dart. Same thing for Spencer Rattler. Got to be smart with the ball. Obviously, being able to run the ball successfully is a key to this game as well. I don't see this game as, usually when you have like those bona fide franchise quarterbacks. Jackson Dart is still young. He could possibly end up being a franchise quarterback. But I'm talking about when you're talking about Lamar Jacksons and the Justin Herberts and the Patrick Mahomes and all those other guys at the upper echelon, you want to keep those offenses off the field. That's how you slow them down by extending your drives, being able to maintain drives. 7, 8, 9 play drives, touchdowns, and stuff like that. I feel like if the Giants get a lead on the Saints, I think that puts us right where we need to be for that victory.
I agree.
If we can force you guys to depend on Spencer Rattler to win you guys the game, but knowing he's going to be passing the ball, we can get that pressure. So, like I said, I think that's our key to victory: striking fast, being able to hold you guys. The only thing that concerns me again is you got that guy that can score every time he gets his hands on the ball, in Alvin Kamara, whether he's receiving it or if he's running. And now you got his tag team partner now with Kendra Miller, who's also showing and coming along that he can almost score anytime he gets the ball too. That gives me some reserve as well. So I'm going to give you my prediction. I say the New York Giants beat the Saints in the Superdome. I would think it'd be a high scoring game, maybe a 31-24 game. That's what I'm thinking about too. I know you gave me some points, but do you have a prediction and then score? I know you said the Saints are going to win this one. What score do you have?
I got the Saints winning 23-20. And I agree. I definitely agree with what you're saying about starting off fast. Like this is a team that hasn't won a football game. Saints fans are frustrated. They're tired. As a matter of fact, Dash, the Saints haven't won a football game of any kind since the last time they played the Giants in MetLife. Like that was in December of last year, man.
Wow.
So to say that Saints fans want to see a victory is an understatement. So if the Giants jump on the Saints, the crowd can really be taking out this game. The Boo Birds can be in full effect. And you know that affects the team's psyche, regardless if guys talking about, oh, they professionals. Like, regardless, man, the crowd is disinterested. They leaving. They're going to get themselves something in the front quarter. Like,
trying to beat the traffic.
Man, exactly, man. Let me get home. Man, I can watch the rest of this at home. Yeah. If you can take a team fan base out of the game, then you can basically do whatever you want. It becomes a home game. And let me tell you this, you all travel really well. And the New Orleans Saints fans aren't in the Superdome. Like that mystique of the Superdome is not what it used to be, my man, when Drew Brees and Sean Payton was out there. Like people, they're not there. I mean, the last game the Saints played in the Superdome, I want to say they played against the 49ers. It sounded like the 49ers home game. It sounded like Levi Stadium, so man, that can be like, I don't think this is going to be a game where it's like, oh man, I got to worry about the crowd. I think the Giants fans going to be in there just as much as the Saints fans are.
That's funny too, because when we had the home opener against the Chiefs, it was a lot of red in that stadium, and we got the same effect as a home crowd where if we don't look like we're playing well, that crowd will turn on you. We got the Boo Birds too.
Yeah.
They get out there. I remember in that Kansas City Chiefs game, we were in the red zone, third down, and they was booing. They was booing on third down. Rightfully so too, because hit the crossbar in the next play. But I just want to look at this one. Was it my man Noya Ant says 40-7 Saints? Come on, man.
I don't know about that, man.
I thought 15-15.
I like the optimism, but I don't think that's happening, man. I don't think.
Oh man, nah. But they did say today in practice for the Giants that they were pumping in extra crowd noise, to try to prepare for the crowd at the Dome. So again, we don't take it lightly, man. Again, Giants fans want this game. We want to stack W's. We want to make sure that this start for Jackson Dart continues to go well. I don't think we don't really care about Brian Dable, to be honest. Like, a lot of people are already over Brian Dable. As a fan base, we feel like he is the weak link. His offense is not doing what it's supposed to do. But to your point, we also want Jackson Dart to succeed. So if Jackson Dart succeeding means that Brian Dable still has a job, we might have something to talk about by the end of the year. But if he's winning and the offense is looking good and Catholic got the offense, putting up 25 to 30 points a game, then I think everything will be well after that. But before we close up, again, I want let the people know where they can find you. I do want to say again, because I thanked you backstage, I want to thank you again for joining the show. Again, for the people out there that don't know, I do follow my man TJ on Twitter. I've been watching his content for a while now, even before I thought about doing this show. I like this content. I like his drive. He's consistent. He's putting in the work. And I always want to put myself around people that are putting that work and making a change when it comes to this content game. And also you doing it in person, going to the combines and stuff like that. I always appreciate people that out there putting in the work. So I thank you again for joining. And again, once again, let the people know where they can find you, what you're doing, and things like that.
Well, Dash, once again, man, I appreciate the invite, and it's a pleasure being here on your platform, man. And you're doing really great things over here, man. Just continue to put in that work, and continue to give the Giant fans what they need. That's important. People can find me on the State of the Saints podcast YouTube channel, youtube.com, search the State of the Saints podcast, and also on Bleacher Report immediately following every Saints game. I go live. I do daily Saints talk for Bleacher Report as well. The State of the NFL podcast. I talk about hot NFL topics as well as live stream every primetime game. So if you're into stuff like that, you can find me. And also on social media, you can find me on X at TJAYJones8.
Now, I appreciate that too, man. And again, I'm gonna thank you. I'm gonna let you go. You enjoy the rest of your night, and see you on game day. I never say, good luck to the opponent. I always say, hopefully everybody leaves the game healthy. That's how I do, man. You have a good night. Thank you again for joining. And again, see you on Sunday.
All right, man. Thank you, Dad. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Have a good one. All right, everybody. Somebody please let me know if the Yankees actually won Last time I checked, it was the ninth inning. It was 4-3. Can somebody please let me know if the Yankees won? I'm gonna get to some more of these comments before we get out of here. Again, salute to all the Who Dat Nation that's in the chat. You guys did your thing. You guys did your thing. You guys showed up and showed out for your man TJ, and I always respect that. I always respect that. My man NYCG said yes, we did. Okay, thank you. The Yanks won. They won. Perfect. Slim South, thank you very much for the love and support, man, as well. Again, you guys showed up. I saw the chat. The chat was going crazy. A good amount of trash talk and also a good amount of respect at the end of the day, too. You know, you had some people that had to say some things and throw some jabs, but again, that's what competition is all about. So before we close out, anybody that wants to say anything in the chat, go ahead and put it in there, and I will post it up on the chat. If not, we're going to wrap this thing up. I do see Justin Wallace with the Who Dat. Jerry showing some love, a little bit of love to Yankee. Said his dad is a Yankee fan, so there it is. You know, there's always connections. Shout out to my man Charlie Dog 3D. He said, great content, my G. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, and I think that's it, man. If we without further ado, we're gonna close this thing out, man. So again, big game this week: New York Giants versus the New Orleans Saints. Big game for both teams. Both teams do need a victory, even though the Saints don't have a victory yet this week. I'm still not trying to give them anything easy for sure. Pause too on that. But Giants know what they got to do. We got to go in New Orleans. We got to get this W without Malik Neighbors. Defense, if we get a lead, I think this defense has a good chance of closing the show, kind of like how we did last week against the Chargers. But that's pretty much it for me. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows Big Blue Nation. Let's go.